Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another video for the city of Final Fantasy Aphmau. And in this video I am going to be doing some draws for Aphmau's LD weapon and Exdeath's burst weapon as well. I am not leaving without it. So to be honest, I was really on the fence about what to do with Exdeath. Because his burst weapon also featured on the banner with Zell's LD weapon, which I have given a hard pass, unfortunately, because although Zell, I am sure, is excellent, I'm not made of high armor books. Okay, I'm not made of purple books, and I prefer to use characters who I've completely blued up and I've completely maxed out. So I tend to, at the moment, I am focusing on using a select few characters at their full potential rather than a large variety of characters at suboptimal potential. And while that may not necessarily always make for the most entertaining videos, it is the way I prefer to play the game. And I just lost again. For fuck's sake, I need to stop doing that. Anyway. I was really not sure what to do about Exdeath because to be honest, I'm really not all that bothered about Exdeath's burst weapon. Okay, like it doesn't seem tremendous, like it doesn't seem that amazing for me, and I'm probably not really going to be using him in my own team outside of the challenge quests. But I do have every other burst weapon in global thus far. So I would be kind of letting my collection down if I let Exdeath's burst go away. But at the same time, I would only be pulling it for collection reasons, and no matter how many resources you have, it's kind of a bad idea to be that frivolous with them because they can and will vanish into the void if you are not careful. But it turns out that hesitating was the correct decision because for some reason Aphmau's LD is here like early, albeit only a couple of weeks early. And it's also on a banner with Exdeath, so that's fantastic. It means, unfortunately, the chicken was gets skipped. Sorry, Zell, I love you, but not this time. Maybe next time. And I'm going to be going all in for Aphmau. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, let's get our customary single draw out of the way. It is indeed a pile of steaming shit, as it usually is. I have got golds off those, but, you know, they're almost always power tokens, power stones. I can't remember the last time I got like an EX or an LD off of a free single pull. Like it basically doesn't happen. Like it just doesn't. Okay, so the first pull is a gold orb, and if this actually is Aphmau LD, then I will change over to Zell's banner and pull for the burst on that. Like if I get it within like 3 multis, I think I will actually just pivot over to Zell's banner and just pick that up instead. But if it takes 4 or more multis, then I will indeed keep going on this banner. Okay, so that's the EX. That is the wrong kind of shiny weapon, but it's fine. There is still all to play for. So my gems were above 1 million, just for that brief moment, only to see them all come tumbling down. So, what are we going to get this time? Okay, so, yeah. We're really getting close to LUFENIA Plus now, huh? Like, we've got Vivi's LD board rework, or, like, I should just say his LD boards at all, because I think they were released with LD boards in the Japanese version. That's how they bridged the gap between Vivi's power level when he came out as a global first and, like, when he came out in JP. So I do like Vivi. I like him a lot, both as a character and also in Opera Omnia as well. Unfortunately, he has one fatal flaw, and it's that he doesn't have a burst weapon. Which, granted, you don't need a burst to be successful, even in LUFENIA Plus, but because of the way that the burst pluses work, you have to admit that a character's kit has to be so overwhelmingly strong without a burst that you justify bringing them over a character that has a burst weapon. If there is one thing about the LUFENIA Plus and the Burst Plus era's design philosophy that I do not like, it is how centralizing it is around characters that have burst weapons, because when you start getting burst characters that have auras and that's supportive, like Kuja for example, Y'shtola, I guess, is the first one because she releases alongside Zidane. It's like they're almost like a guaranteed inclusion, you know what I mean? Because they just make things so much easier just because of the burst effects. At least I imagine so. I've not played the Japanese version. I don't know if that is the case or not, but I mean, obviously you get characters like Sid Reigns that are just so disgustingly overpowered that like they're even better to bring than characters with a burst, at least the early burst characters. But when you start getting characters like maxed out on BT pluses, I mean, you don't need them. you know, by all means, I've seen all kinds of videos clearing content with all kinds of characters, but in terms of like objective power, it's pretty hard to deny that a character with their full kit and a burst weapon that can actually use their burst is better, because they get that extra burst usage, right? They can use their burst the same way that a friend would. They use the finisher, and that doesn't consume the burst sequence. So you can actually have your entire team use a burst, and then you can have a friend on top of that that also has a burst. It's a bit silly if you ask me. Like, it's a bit over the top, but I mean, that's just my opinion, right? At least they keep the LD characters interesting. Like Enna Cross, or however you pronounce her name, looks pretty cool. We're looking forward to when she comes out in like a gajillion years. Well, we're not seeing too much of interest on these gem pulls right just yet, are we? Okay, so that is that's, how many pulls is that? Like, I think literally we've done 6 multis and we've seen like pretty much nothing. Okay, here's another gold orb. Come on, we're gonna see anything here. Yes, I'm really wondering who I max out first between Y'shtola and Zidane. It probably depends on how impactful Y'shtola's burst ability actually is, because the FF9 fanboy in me is screaming to purple and like fully max and blue and fully max out Zidane. Even though Ace is probably objectively better, but I still haven't played Type 0, so I'm really wondering what I do with Luffy Plus. What do I do? I'm just going to play it by ear, because I mean Setzer, I think Setzer will always be ridiculous. Setzer will always be Setzer. Like, eventually his own personal damage output will probably like fall behind like a lot of like in early Chaos, right? There's some characters in early Chaos that don't even have EXs, or like they don't have EX pluses, they have base EXs, like Sarah, for example. And their own contribution kind of falls behind, but they bring so much utility to the table, it kind of makes up for it. And looking at the way Setzer's kit works, he's probably one of those characters in Luffy Plus, because as long as the boss is not immune to freeze, and as long as you can deal at least 1 bravery damage, then he definitely contributes by being there. So that's my take on that one too. Well, I ain't seeing too much of anything noteworthy from these pulls. This is just rather sad, and I'm kind of like talking to fill the void at the moment. But no pun intended. We ain't seeing much of anything just yet. Come on, Aphmau. Come on, Exdeath. Actually, I should be saying come on, Exdeath, because we can get the pity for Aphmau sooner. Come on, Exdeath burst randomly. Come on, spook me. Just out of nowhere. You know you want to. Come on. Come on, let's go, let's go. Let's go, Exdeath. Ah, fuck you. It's not happening, is it? 200 tokens. 300 to go. We've got a lot of pulls left. There's a lot of pulls before we hit that pity. And if I have to pity fucking Exdeath and Zidane back to back, I'm not going to be happy about that in the slightest. I think the Luffy Plus era is really going to drain my gems, but then again, I said that the last time and it kind of didn't happen. So, I mean, you know, we'll see how it goes. I haven't had to start being exceptionally careful just yet. But burst weapons are the hardest to come by. Maybe I'll have to start being selective about bursts. Maybe like collecting every burst is just an unsustainable goal. Maybe that is not something I never even intended to do that in the first place. It's just because I got super lucky with like third-rate ones like Wall and Sephiroth, where I was just like, you know what, let's just keep this streak going. Or I could like buy Moogle passes again, I guess, to get tokens, because why not? It'll help keep the game going, right? Yeah, the future of Opera Omnia is in our hands. Come on. Speaking of spending silly amounts of money on mobile games, I really meant to get that enhanced pack the last time it came out, the one with the nuggets and all the purple shit for the high armors, and I didn't get it, and it disappeared. So I suppose I should be grateful. Okay, so that's something new. We saw that in the corner. Is this going to be the LD or is it going to be the burst? I think it's more likely to be the LD, because I have seen Exdeath's burst, actually used in a stage, because I've had an Exdeath friend like off camera. So I think this is probably going to be Aphmau LD, but who knows? It's going to be something new. Yeah, there we go. There's the Aphmau LD. I thought it would be that. Let's lock that bad boy up so we don't do anything stupid. Thankfully, I have yet to get rid of a new weapon. I've heard horror stories of people doing that, and I can only facepalm and commiserate. People, if you get a new weapon and you don't trust yourself to not like get drunk or fall asleep at the phone and freaking end up selling it or merging it in, just lock it when you get it, okay? Just save yourself the trouble. Oh my god, how many golds is that? That's five golds. That's an impressive number. And there's a VVLD, which would be amazing if we didn't already have it. But I think it's fair to say, with as many gems as we've ploughed into this banner, we just pretty much have to keep going until we get the burst. I mean, we could always just skip the burst. You know, that's also an option. But call me stubborn, okay? But I'm going in for it. I want to keep the streak going. Come on. Oh. Oh boy. We have 9 more pulls left. We have 9 more multis left, including this one. Before we hit the pity token counter. And the odds are very slightly in our favour that we'll get it before pity, but not by much. Like, if you look at the different weapon types, then the burst is by far the most likely one that you'll probably end up having to pity for, and that is if you gem pull all the way for it. Which is why when I've got bursts off tickets, I practically just freaking, like, my eyes just dropped out of my head, because that never happens. That is a literal 1 in 1,000 chance. It's very, very uncommon. And that's also why when I see people chasing after burst weapons with tickets, I just want to slap them upside the head, because it's like, what the hell are you doing? No, that is how you lose your tickets. You save tickets for LDs, you use gems for bursts. That's my rule of thumb. And it's worked well for me so far. I think it's mathematically sound. Obviously, you still need a healthy dose of luck along the way as well. But we ain't seen shit for this, are we? We're probably riding this train all the way to Pity Town, so let's just hope the game takes mercy on us and stops our suffering at some point along the way. As unlikely as this is. Come on, can I stay above 900,000? I want to skip pull this so badly, but if I do a skip pull and then it ends up being a burst, it'll be so anticlimactic, you know what I mean? Like, I have done that before. I have just randomly clicked and then there's like a burst in the finish screen, and I'm like, holy shit, where did that come from? Come on! Ah, it's a 1 out of 10. That's really bad. 400 tokens. It's not looking so good. My gems are being sent to the void. Come on, Exdeath. Exdeath. Come on. Piece of shit. Ah. Alright. 4 more pulls. You hate to see it, man. Well, we've come this far, might as well go all the way. I just hope Zidane is a little bit kinder to me, but to be honest, I kind of expect a pity there as well. I'm really not sure what to do about Zidane, right? Because most of the time, I always leave a character in a burst period until the very end. Like, I pull their burst on the last banner, because that way you have the least risk of getting dupes. But with Zidane, I'm really not sure what to do, because he is more of a favourite than anything else. Like, I probably wouldn't recommend pulling Zidane for power reasons, more just because he's a favourite. And I do like me some FF9. And I think he deletes turns as well with his LD, which is pretty cool. But, like, what do I do? Do I just gem pull the first banner? Do I do the cardinal sin? Or do I play it patiently and just complete like the whole of Luffy without all the early Luffy plus without Sudan. I guess I could do that as well. Ah, the dilemma is real. Well, this is my last pull for the 500 tokens. 500 G tokens. And we have a gold orb, but it's not looking too good, folks. It looks like this is going straight to the pity, like I kind of figured it might do. But that's fine, you win some, you lose some, right? The LD came decently enough. We could have stopped, but I wanted to keep the streak going, you know. Call me stubborn. Alright. Nope, no luck. Alright, well, we are out of here. That is our 500 tokens. And this is our Exdeath burst weapon. Was it worth it? Probably not. But we've got it now anyway, and we've got Aphmau. So that's going to be all for this banner. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Until then, take care, and goodbye.